Welcome to Same Script, Different Cast. You are with me, Seen It.
I think it.
And I'm doing a review of the movie Always and Forever. Oh my gosh, this movie. Oh my gosh. I mean, how can I explain this movie perpetrated as a thriller? Within the first 10 minutes, I figured out the killer. I did not check who wrote and directed before I selected this movie. It did not move me. It was a joke. Produced by
Go home, Roger!
And directed by Chris Stokes. Written by both of them folks. I saw it streaming on ALLBLK. Ratings and grades. The actors had it made. Because of them, it's a D. But I gave it a 3 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 20. The movie stems from summer camp in 1996. 4 middle school girls decide to throw some tricks at an unsuspecting lad named Piggy Pete. Miranda, Summer, Brandy, and Nicole, we meet. Brandy is the snob, Nicole is sweet, Summer has an afro, and Miranda is meek. The girls make a bond that's not so clever.
From this night on, whatever happens to us, we stick together.
Always and forever.
Groupthink allowed Pete to get hurt, punched by other boy campers in the dirt. The girls watched and laughed or said, "This is wrong." But inaction is the same as you jumping along. Now, Pete liked Nicole, so she was coerced. In order to be in a club, you gotta kiss him first. She kissed him, but the movie did not explain what happened next. This movie is filled with those, so find your own context. Then, Peter was told that Nicole was drowning. Help! He didn't know how to swim, but he still jumped in. Well, he drowned a little bit, but survived by the grace of the paramedics who arrived. So all of this backstory I gave in one sitting was sprinkled throughout this damn movie. No kidding. So now we are at Nicole's wedding to Brian, who she met 4 months ago online. Loretta Devine is Brian's mother. He's a foster child with one sibling. However, Samantha isn't at the wedding.
Samantha? I don't even know it's Samantha.
4 years later, Brian and Nicole are busy. He's on business trips and she's an attorney. Nicole is a regular in the coffee shop. And who pops up? Miranda, touched down from South Africa out the gate. No clue why she was there, but we know she got a date. A quick catch up from 4 years ago. Girl, let's keep in touch. You know that flow. Cut to Miranda getting ready to go out in a pink dress. But she is way too stressed when her alarm is pressed. She can't turn it off with the key. Goes outside to do it manually. Sees a dude in all black standing by a tree. Hello? Hello? She says, but she don't know him. He lunges for her. She runs in the house and locks the door. He's already in there. The hallway, then on the kitchen floor. She calls the police.
911, what is your emergency?
She screams and runs into the bedroom. Door locked. Old boy bangs on the door, but he's blocked. She's out of the window, but the banging stops. Now he's at the window, like magic, and Miranda gets got. On the news the next day, Nicole sees Miranda committed suicide. Nicole is horrified, tells Brian that she's surprised because she was excited for a date that night.
Honestly, this whole thing comes as a complete shock to me.
Next is Miranda's repass. Nicole and Summer are flabbergasted, but at long last, who can that be but Brandy? Too busy to attend Nicole's wedding since she was flying the high seas. And I should mention, here's where the movie tries to build tension between Summer and Brandy. After Brian and Nicole returned from dinner, they noticed that they had a visitor. Someone broke into their home but stole nothing. The next day, they install a ring. Nicole wants to protect herself and steps into a boxing ring. Brian leaves for Phoenix. Nicole starts to think he's being slick, using these trips to dip his pita into another bitch. Over wine, Nicole engages Summer and her colleague Tammy with the question, y'all think Brian would have an affair? They say, nah, he's great, but they don't care and snoop in his car anyway. They find a note that reads, call Paige. Brute forces email and can't find that phrase. Nicole goes to Loretta's barbecue. Brian is away. Do you think your son would cheat on me? Nicole demanded. That's his mama. You just got to her house empty-handed. But Mama's chilling, says no. Communicate, talk to him. The movie doesn't allow us to see the barbecue. I guess their budget was thin. Because somebody would have mentioned a sibling. After seeing P, quote unquote, text Brian, Nicole spied, gets phone records for P, social network lookup, and it's Paige Campbell identified. Out of the blue, Nicole seeks bougie Brandy's boutique. Brandy apologizes for them killing Piggy Pete.
You know what happened at summer camp.
That was in the past.
We know that Pete lives because he was revived by the paramedics. Boom, next scene, Brandy is gone. Needle in her arm, she OD'd on heroin or heroin. Detective Wood Harris investigates what's going on. Detective Harris interviews Nicole, and Brian is there. Nicole talks about her childhood friendship with Despair. Detective Harris thinks this is fishy too. 2 people committed suicide who went to the same elementary school?
The girls went to school together, they grew up together. My gut tells me something ain't right.
The movie tried to convince the audience there was a coincidence. It don't make no sense. Now, Nicole's work is being affected. She lost 1 court case. Her work is being neglected. Boss says, take some paid time off. Your mind is disconnected. Paid leave to chill and drink wine? Challenge accepted. While home looking through yearbook photos, and we see Marcus Houston in one of those.
Look at your hair.
Nicole tells Tammy she knows where Paige goes. Tammy says, you gotta pull up on these hoes. Nicole goes to Paige's workplace and waits. Follows her to Loretta Devine's place. Who is she? She knows Brian's mom? And Nicole doesn't know what's going on. Nicole still follows, and Paige meets Brian in a parking garage. They don't see her, no other cars in the lot, but she's camouflaged. We can't hear what they're saying, but it's an animated conversation. This is not a sign of cheating. That's the reason that she's chasing. She snapped photos. This is confirmation bias, and now she's ready to face him. Nicole shows Brian the photos. You're cheating on me. Now I know you know I know. Brian says they work together. Head side tilt, where? But where is not asked because the movie doesn't care. Brian was protecting Nicole. Yes, the writing is lazy. Paige says she was going to hurt you if I didn't sleep with her. She's crazy. That was the reasoning. Let's repeat. Brian said that he was protecting Nicole because Paige says he would hurt Nicole if Brian didn't sleep with her.
What?
Okay, that's the writing of this movie. You gotta be wondering, that's wrong. Then why was Paige at Brian's mom's? Nicole never asked. The audience does, but the movie doesn't make it an issue because Nicole put Brian out for speculation of an affair. With no proof, the movie does not care. Nicole tells Summer Brian is out of here. Over wine, they reminisce about that time they had crushes on Usher and Roger from Sister Sister. We get it. That's not an Easter egg, mister.
Go home, Roger.
The next day, Summer is dead, but we don't know how. It was a suicide, but the movie has given up now. Nicole is arrested. No Miranda rights given. It's just that she looks suspicious. All her friends are dying. Oh, but we have a clue. Letter initials with signature P. No, we don't know what that initial means. But P! Who in the world could that be? Nicole says her husband committed infidelity. Her name begins with a P. I don't know her last name, she said. She wants to hurt me. We learned her last name 4 scenes ago. It's Paige. Paige Campbell. After refusing a restraining order and hitting an officer, Paige gets arrested and wants her lawyer. Detective gets her prints off the glass of water, but something seems out of order. From arrest, they didn't take her fingerprints? Make it make sense. Poof! Brian shows up. Says he's sorry with cue cards like in Love Actually. He tries to explain he will never lie again. And Nicole tells him stop saying no more. But the devil is in the details, but she ignores. Detective Harris took care of it with a restraining order. Brian seems relieved, but the ring catches Paige in their home casing. She made bail. And that's her destination? Back at the station, we found out Paige's real name is Samantha Wells, sister to Peter, who killed himself. So now the detective presumes this is a sibling revenge, making the killings look like suicides of Nicole's friends. The cops pick Paige up from Loretta's place, but don't interview Loretta for this case. What? In court, Samantha Paige is found guilty on all counts. What am I missing? How did the evidence surmount the opposition? Later, detective gets a call and says, you gotta be kidding me. The movie doesn't show what he learned, but he leaves in a hurry. Nicole wakes up in a cabin from 1996, where all the girls hung out when they were kids. She walks to a carousel to reminisce and says to Brian, "This is where we had our first kiss." Okay, Nicole knows Brian is Peter, unsure where she made that inference. But now, Brian's dialect and posture are different. Peter says, after camp, he tried to slit his wrist. His sister Paige found him to fix him quick. Loretta Devine took them in, changed their names to begin again. So after the monologue, Pete Brian, by the way, tries to hurt her. He wants to kill Nicole outright or make it look like self-murder. I wondered, what was his endgame after all this? Act as a widower and gain an inheritance? His sister is in jail for his crimes. What about that circumstance? Nicole and Peter battle in the cabin, the lake, the dirt. Supposed to be boxing but sparring. Nicole got hurt. Peter knocked her in the head and gave her a pistol whip. Then out pops the detective who shoots Peter with one hit from the clip. And that's it. This movie was a first draft. They should have used some sort of a 3-act structure type of a situation. What about the complications, the path of most resistance, the dark moment when the protagonist fails? Nothing. No conclusion, no climax, no catharsis. My gosh, this movie upset me. The writers deluded themselves in thinking this movie was finished. Like, read other scripts, audit a script writing course to learn the basics. If you want to do something more than you got served, you must learn. But when you fund it, write it, direct it, I guess who cares if the movie has plot holes, is incoherent, nonsensical, not focused, nor organized. And they need to track each character. I don't know, like write a mini journal for each person. Even if all that the info is revealed, it can still contribute to the character. Like, what type of person was Loretta Devine? How does she know Paige? We find out later that that's her foster mother, but we wouldn't have known. It just did not make any sense. Like, at least Loretta Devine should have been interviewed. My gosh, this movie. Did they read the script out loud? Note the problems, break it up into manageable components, brainstorm some solutions? My gosh, you cannot tell me that when they did this, they didn't see that they were plot holes. Like, I can't even, oh my gosh. I don't know. Brainstorm something. Oh, it just pissed me off. And with this, it's like, I feel like I had to rhyme this movie because it's too damn convoluted. It's just easier, I guess, to summarize what happened than give a beat by beat because it's...
We've all done things we're not proud of that we wish we could take back.
Make it make sense. Thank you so much for joining me, seeing it. That is my review of Always and Forever. Oh, gosh. Some movies. But bless the actors. They did what they could with what they had. All right, and I'm out.
I think